Welcome back to the Real Legend of Gaming. Got some exciting news here with Tom Clancy's The Division. The 1.6 update is finally have been revealed. The information is on the website itself, so no more rumors, no more guessing. It's here live. So we'll go right into the bullet points. At the same time as we release Expansion 3, Last Stand, and the Last Stand game mode, we will be releasing a free update 1.6 to all our players. What's cool is that back around January 11th to the 13th, the Division Release Task Force met with, Division Group, and they took the feedback and they also released a survey on Reddit. So based on all that, they were able to make adjustments to the update and make it a gameplay experience that everyone can enjoy. So we definitely appreciate that. So right off the bat, new area called the Northern Front. This area will open Darkzone 7, 8, and 9, which was pretty crazy because now Darkzone 7, 8, and 9 will have new areas including vertical space, rooftops, underground locations. It's supposed to be double the size of the current Darkzone, and it's supposed to have more NPCs, more landmarks. It's going to be crazy. So according to what I'm reading here, Darkzone 9 is located just north of Darkzone 6, while 8 and 9 will be spreading out to the east of that. So more or less around Midtown East District. Now a few summary points here is it says the Darkzone has been expanded with 3 new areas, which we just spoke about. It's going to have new landmarks featuring waves of enemies. Now this is crucial right here. Landmarks will reward you with additional loot placed directly into your inventory, just like the supply drops. So you don't have to worry about extracting those items anymore. You can take out horde of enemies, you can take out the name guys, and the inventory will be secure. That's amazing. Protects you from the rogues that have nothing else to do sometimes. I mean, they are highly skilled players as well. I'm not hating on the rogues, but sometimes when you're grinding, the worst thing you want to have happen is lose everything you were grinding for the last hour for. Now this here is awesome as well. You can fast travel between Darkzone checkpoints. That's so cool. You know how many times you sometimes would get stuck running through the Darkzone because you didn't want to lose your items by leaving the Darkzone. So this is a great feature. Now they're also adding special events called contamination events. So contaminated body bags have been piled up in parts of the subways below the Darkzone, increasing the strength of the virus in those areas. The cleaners have started sweeping those locations, burning everything in their path, including civilians happening to get away. So what does all of this mean? There'll be new contamination events roughly every hour. Elite cleaners will spawn into the Darkzone underground. Contamination in those areas will reach lethal levels, so your virus filter will not be able to resist it. So it's kind of like survive as long as you can so you can take out these cleaners. This is new as well, and this might give more incentive to the higher level players and create more replay, obviously. They're going to be Darkzone leaderboards. So the Darkzone leaderboards will allow you to compare yourself with other players across a wide variety of activities on a weekly and monthly basis. The activities are divided between PvP, PvE. So for PvP, they include rogues killed, manhunt survived, and extractions hijacked. So expect the Darkzone to get even crazier now. But it's okay, because you can keep your items from the landmarks, you can keep your items from the supply drops. So there's some balance. For PvE, we'll be tracking activities like NPC enemies killed, locked chests looted, and items extracted. Now, there's going to be a new difficulty unlocked. Again, this is to create more replay for the high level players. A legendary difficulty. So we wanted to give our hardcore players a real challenge. In order to do so, a legendary difficulty mode has been added to 3 missions in the game: Times Square, Warren Gate Power Plant, and Napalm Production Site. This mode is supposed to be the most challenging mode in the game, even more so than heroic incursions. This sounds tough. So the legendary difficulty rewards you will unlock will be unique vanity items not available elsewhere in the game on top of the regular rewards. That's real good. The vanity items you can't get anywhere else. In the future, they also plan to expand new difficulty modes to other missions. So cool. As always, there's going to be exotic items and new gear sets. In Update 1.6, name weapons and gear have been given their very own type. They are now called exotics. Woo! That's crazy. Reminds me a little bit of Destiny. I like that. So parts of that change are cosmetic, as they now have their own color coding to make them stand apart from regular high-end items, both in your inventory and when they drop from enemies. Each of the items have also received flavor and lore text on their item descriptions. That sounds really cool. So just an example. The Hungry Hog will now come with the Glutton talent. Killing a target increases your damage dealt by 20% until you stop firing. So you basically can go beast mode crazy, shooting the whole clip. And you're going to do an extra 20% damage. That's cool. While the Tenebrae will have lights out. Destroying an enemy weak point resets skill cooldowns for you and nearby group members. So just a summary of that. It says name gear pieces and weapons are now called exotics. Exotic weapons all have their own unique talent. This change is retroactive. So if you have any Hungry Hogs now or any other name weapons, your talents are going to roll forward as well. Exotic weapon sets have been introduced. So that's cool as well. Exotic caches, like my boy Rumble likes to say, I know it's cash, are available as a weekly reward from legendary difficulty missions. As always though, the gear sets are going to be either nerfed or buffed. They're going to be changes. So what I'm reading here is that since Update 1.5, it's been Alpha Bridge. We're changing aspects of it since it's current mathematically superior to other gear sets. Instead of the 4-piece bonus sharing all talents when you use 2 weapons on the same category, it will now share the free talents from both weapons, except from the exotic weapons that we mentioned earlier. The Frontline set has become really popular since it was introduced, which we are really happy about it since it's so much fun to play with. We're making tweaks to balance it more. The 4-piece bonus will no longer remove your critical hit chance, as it was found to be quite confusing since it didn't apply to all critical hit chance bonuses. Instead, it will remove the effects of any mod: reactive targeting, assault shield, kinetic breaker. We're also making changes to the Reclaimer gear set, turning it into more of a support set. Now, I don't know. I myself was using the Reclaimer gear set for the update 1.4, and then all of a sudden, all the awesome perks were removed, and I stopped using it. So I'm kind of curious what they're going to do with the Reclaimer now, because I personally feel it's not being used as much, but let's see. So when wearing 4 pieces, the set will activate all the support station mods: life support, immunizer, ammo cache, simultaneously. That sounds really strong. The 2 and 3 piece bonuses will also focus on the support station, increases its range and duration respectively. It will no longer have an effect on consumables. Now see, this is what I'm talking about. That was one of the few perks that was exciting, but I guess it gets balanced out with the support station being super strong now. The Tactician's Authority will be slightly changed as well. Its buff will no longer run out after 10 seconds. Instead, it will disappear after you use a skill. And a new gear set's coming out called Seeker, which will have body shots as its specialty. Its 4-piece bonus will give you a guaranteed critical hit after landing 2 consecutive shots to the body, which can be spread out across different enemies. That's an interesting gear set. I wonder how that plays. It sounds like it can definitely work well with the shotguns. So let's see how that works. I mean, I know Predator's Mark is pretty strong right now, but Seeker seems pretty cool as well. And we'll go back into the summary. So the Alpha Bridge 4-piece bonus now shares the free talent from your weapons instead of all 3. Frontline's 4-piece no longer removes a critical hit chance. Instead, it removes the effect of any mods you apply to the shield. The Reclaimer set focuses on the support station. Tactician's Authority's buff only disappears after you use a skill. And there's a new gear set called Seeker. Now they've also made changes to the armor and resistances. We'll go right into the summary for this because this is a little lengthy. So the summary of armor and resistances. Armor has been removed as a major bonus and replaced with health. Gear still comes with base armor, and some talents will give you bonus armor. I don't know how many times they're going to change the armor, but if it's being replaced with health, I guess that keeps it simple. So the gear set comes with base armor, and some talents will give you some bonus armor. All right, I got to see how that plays out. As more information comes about, we'll definitely review that. Health and stamina are your primary means of toughness. Current health rolls have been turned into the new stat resist all. Resistances have become analog instead of binary. Diminishing returns have been added to status effects. Other parts of the game have been rebalanced as a result to make sure time to kill and time to be killed stay balanced. All changes are retroactive. So, reading this summary, right off the bat, I want to get more information about the armor being removed as a major bonus and the health and stamina being the primary means of toughness. So we are going to go back to the text. Alright, so as it stands right now, armor is the perceived best in slot bonus for gear. It is. I mean, you do try to re-roll to get the armor up. If you can roll armor on something, you will, and you can do a lot of DPS and be tanky at the same time as a result. I can't argue with that. That's true. That's not fun. It quickly becomes stale and the meta suffers as a result. So this is what they had in mind. There were too many tanky classes, so they have to balance it out. I completely understand that. So in update 1.6, gear items will come with their base armor as usual, but armor will be removed as a major bonus and replaced with health. So you know sometimes when you're re-rolling and it'll say maybe plus 5,000 health. So now the gear sets will not have the bonus for the armor, it will be replaced with that. I've noticed that only slightly increases toughness, but I'm sure they'll keep all that in mind. It means that raw health and stamina will be the main source of toughness. So that's exactly what they're referring to. Okay, so it makes a lot of sense now. Now there's going to be changes to skill power and skills. I know we've all noticed with the last update, everyone's skill power has been tremendously high, which kind of changed the way you use mods. No longer had to focus on increasing electronics or increasing the skill power, so you can kind of put more towards firearms or stamina. So let's see what they say. So due to the way armor and skill power work, we didn't make it all the way. With this new system, we hope to shake things up a bit. The choice between the different stats, firearms, stamina, and electronics will become even more important. To help this happen, we also made some changes to how skill power works in the division, since electronics aren't currently seen as a valid spec, which means less build variety. Goes to what I was saying. So we're moving skill power to a system similar to armor, whereas effectiveness scales according to which world tier you are in. Okay. In other words, every time you move up a tier, you will need more skill power in order to reach the same relative effectiveness of your skills. So basically what it's saying is if you start on world tier 1, you'll need a specific skill power to be able to do damage relative to what your level and your weapons are. As you progress all the way up to tier 4, your skill power is going to have to support that change in difficulty. It kind of makes sense. I mean, I did notice a couple times when I did some PvE on tier 3, my stats were a lot higher. And then when I went down to tier 4, things did go down. So they're going to do the same thing with skill power. So this means that if you have a build with more or less no extra skill power, you will see your skills becoming less effective after 1.6. So skill power has been moved to a system similar to armor, which we just explained. There's a bigger difference in skill efficiency between low and high skill power builds. Changes have been made to Sticky Bomb, First Aid, and Shock Turret. We've rebalanced signature skills and made it impossible to trigger a signature skill when you're already suffering from its immunity debuff. Tactical Link's damage bonus has been lowered in PvP. So that's big. Tactical Lynch did a lot of damage before, so that's a major change. There's also going to be PvP balancing. A lot of what we're doing will have a direct impact on PvP. We're making it explicit balance changes to make sure PvP becomes more rewarding and fun to play. All of these changes were debated heavily during the workshops, and we'll be keeping a close eye on how things work on the PTS. So they're looking at hipfire, decreasing the stability when moving, and adding a separate camera setting for it to take more skill to use. The damage gap between body damage and headshots have been lowered, but that's something that will be tweaked based on feedback. They also added a 1-second delay after a combat roll before you can roll again, as it's currently too easy to just spam rolls. I've seen that a lot, especially when you chase it down a manhunt. they'll just roll the way out of danger and continue rolling. You really can't shoot them. Also, you're no longer able to reload your weapon while sprinting. So you cannot run and reload at the same time. So that's also crucial too. As it stands, skills that cause status effects are often seen as must picks in PvP compared to other options, and there's no real effective counter. So example is Fire, Bleed, and Disorient. So the Rejuvenated Gear talent, which used to grant this effect, has been changed to give additional resistance to status effects instead. Bleed will no longer prevent you from sprinting or moving from cover to cover. Instead, it will slow you down in general. Okay, that helps. Medkits can also prolong encounters between players much more than intended. Because of this, the Adrenaline talent will no longer provide an overheal. What? That was one of our go-to save moves. To distinguish medkits from his first aid skill, instead it will provide a heal over time. We're also increasing the medkit cooldown to 15 seconds, up from 12 seconds. And you'll see your enemy health bar flash whenever they use one to make it easy to identify what is going on during a fight. We're also aware of multiple talents that together increases survivability too much, again helping to prolong encounters. So we're about rebalancing the effects of talents like On the Move, Battle Buddy, and Critical Save. What do you folks think about that? So the medkit is getting nerfed. Which, I mean, again, sometimes when you're fighting in the Dark Zone, those medkits can really turn the battle around. So this is going to be more of a straight up fight. It's going to be more of a straight up gunfight where your teammates are really going to have to help you out now with their abilities. The support station, so we'll probably see a lot more Reclaimer sets now. This is interesting. So the balancing. Summary of the PvP balancing. Hipfire stability while moving has been decreased, and a new hipfire camera has been added. The damage gap between body damage and headshots have been lowered. When combat rolling, there's now a 1 second delay before you can roll again. You can no longer reload your weapon while sprinting. Med kits can now be used at full health and remove certain status effects. Okay, I might have skip that in the reading. That's really good. The Rejuvenated talent has been changed to give additional resistance to status effects. Adrenaline no longer gives an overheal for medkits. Instead, it will give a heal over time. Your enemy's health bar will flash whenever they use a medkit. And survivability talents like On the Move, Battle Buddy, and Critical Save have been part of the balancing changes. So there's also going to be some economy changes. Unlimited recalibration has been introduced. The price increases each time, capping out at 5 recalibrations. The Helping Civilians reward intel. High-end pistols and survival no longer cost division tech. Scavenger box now scales with world tier. And some item prices have been tweaked. It also says the in-game store will add new currency and extend the range of items available to purchase at a special vendor, including new emotes, that's nice, weapon skins, and other vanity items. You can read more about it at the premium credits fact. Alright, so other changes. And folks, we're almost done here. There's a lot of changes to go over. I mean, it's good to read this out loud and, speak to you guys about it. I mean, we're our community. We play this together. We love this game. So let's do it. So from now on, all activities, open world, underground, survival, and last stand will reward their own separate experience points. Okay. Awarding their own cash every time you fill your experience bar after reaching max rank. This means there will no longer be any overlap of experience points in Underground, which from now on will only reward Underground XP and cash. We're also making a few changes to Survival. Solo players will no longer end up in games together with players queuing as a group and grouping up while in a survival game will be completely disabled in solo PvP survival. That helps. Nothing worse than spawning into a match survival and just getting destroyed by a group. In both PvE and PvP survival, reviving a down player will always cost a medkit, group or not. So conclusion, update 1.6 will be a major update to the division and brings a lot of new stuff to the game. We hope the changes to armor, skill power, and resistances will make creating new builds more interesting and varied, and that the PvP changes we're implementing will make player combat more balanced and fun in both the Darkzone and Last Stand. We're also looking forward to see what you get up in the new Darkzone areas, see you face down legendary difficulty and the new contamination events, and what the leaderboards will look like once you have some time with the update. So folks, what do you think? Let's get the conversation going. A lot of changes. I myself am trying to figure out what gear set build I'm going to use now. I'm still using the Firecrest, which I love, but you know, with the balance and the changes, I could easily make a change back to Reclaimer and be the support for my team. So definitely considering some options here. Definitely have to figure out what's going to happen to my armor. I recently rewrote a lot of stuff to give the armor bonus. So there's a lot of changes. All right, so as always, please like and subscribe. I do want a conversation to start off from this video, so please drop comments. Tell me what you guys think. Tell me what you plan to use. What do you think about the new exotic weapons and exotic gear sets? I mean, it sounds real cool. The vanity items, the changes to survival, the new mode Last Stand. Let's get the conversation going. Peace out. Thanks for watching The Real Legend of Gaming.